Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. In this video, I'm going to be showing you 6 different types of hydrangeas that I have in my yard. There are actually additional types than I'm about to show you, but I feel like if you go to a garden center or a box store, this is going to cover most of what you're going to see. There are hundreds of named varieties in each of these groups. Well, maybe not in each of these groups, but certainly this is Hydrangea macrophylla, all summer beauty right here. In my backyard, I've got Hydrangea macrophylla Big Daddy, that Southern Living Plant Collection one that I did a video on a couple months ago. Both of those are Hydrangea macrophylla or big leaf hydrangeas. They're both mop heads, meaning they have the round ball of flowers like this one does. They also come in lace cap varieties where they have a flat cluster. You're going to run into potentially, like I say, hundreds of varieties that you could potentially find on these, but they're going to be similar in needs, the conditions they have, when to prune them and when to fertilize them. All those kinds of things are going to be similar. So what I'm going to show you is, like I say, one of these in each of these 6 groups. So let's get started. So I thought I would start off with the easiest to grow first. This is Hydrangea paniculata. This is more specifically Hydrangea paniculata white wedding. There are a lot of varieties of this one. I just planted another one in my yard that you'll see the video on soon called Moon Dance. There is an older variety called PG that's still available that we call a tree hydrangea that gets 15 feet plus. White wedding only gets about 4 feet tall, or 4 to 6 feet tall, and can be maintained around 4 feet tall. We're starting to see color show up in these. These have always been traditionally white. The flowers start off kind of a greenish color, lime green color, and then turn brighter and brighter and brighter white. There's one called Pinky Winky that turns kind of pink over time, and even reds showing up in these. So the reason these are the easiest is because they bloom on new wood and they just go in the sun. So if you have a sunny space and you're worried about it getting damaged in the winter, having to worry about when to prune it or when not to prune it, these are for you. You put the thing in the sun, you plant it, you can cut it back a little bit in late February, fertilize it at the same time, walk away from it. It almost always blooms reliably. They're super, super easy, and they're super, super cold hardy. I know PG will grow from zones 3 to 8. This white wedding is listed at 4 to 8. So this one doesn't look like a whole lot right now. This is Hydrangea arborescens. Annabelle is this variety. There are new varieties of Hydrangea arborescens with larger flowers than Annabelle, which seems amazing, and new varieties that have different flower colors. Again, these are super, super easy. The other really nice thing about Hydrangea arborescens is they're actually native. I forgot to even mention that in the Annabelle hydrangea video I did. These are actually native to the eastern United States. Super easy plant. Again, it doesn't matter on this one whether or not it gets damaged in the winter, improperly pruned or anything, because it blooms on new growth. So this thing will come out in March or April as it wakes up, and it can grow 3 or 4 feet in a single season and then put on this massive show of big, large, round balls of flowers. Just an absolutely beautiful plant. Just as easy as those paniculatas back there. Late February, you prune this thing back pretty far. You can prune this one almost to the ground if you wanted to, and then fertilize it, and new shoots will come up from the ground and bloom that season. Hydrangea arborescens, super, super easy and native. The next one I'm going to show you is native as well. So I forgot to mention on the Hydrangea arborescens, Annabelle, that one is hardy in zone 4 to 9. So again, that's a theme of all of these. They're very, very cold hardy. This is the other native variety. This is Hydrangea quercifolia. This is, or oak leaf hydrangea, as it's commonly called. Lots and lots of different varieties on this one. Again, this one's called Snow Queen. These are all over the place as well. They traditionally just had white flowers and got very, very large. Now we have varieties that are dwarf, varieties that get pink flowers, varieties that get reddish flowers, varieties that get super, super long, elongated flowers, and gold foliage varieties. I mean, just all over the place. This is of all the hydrangeas that I'm going to show you, this one right here is the best 12-month plant or year-long variety. It has absolutely beautiful foliage in the spring, beautiful flowers in the spring and in the summer, beautiful fall foliage, and then after it loses its foliage, it has exfoliating bark similar to a crepe myrtle or a river birch. Just a 4-season plant. I really, really love oak leaf hydrangeas. I got a couple of them in my yard. Again, super cold hardy. These are going to be in zone 5 down to zone 9, and they're native. These are going to require, you'll see sun or shade listed on these, and I believe as you go up towards zone 5, you could put these in a lot more sun. I tend to have the best luck with them in zone 7B here in part shade. The paniculata is the first one I showed you, definitely a sun plant. Annabelle, a little shade, but it can take quite a bit of sun. I'm moving toward more shade as I'm showing you these, and I think oak leaf hydrangea half and half would be ideal for it. So this is Hydrangea petiolaris, otherwise known as a climbing hydrangea. This one was in its own group for a long time, and it actually got moved to another subgroup of other climbing hydrangeas. There's actually quite a few varieties. Petiolaris here is the only one that I really have any familiarity with. I've seen a variegated climbing hydrangea of another variety, but like I say, I've never tried to grow them. I don't have a lot of experience with them. This is the one that I've always found to be the easiest to root and the most vigorous in the landscape. These are fantastic. They climb on just about anything you'll attach them to. They have roots that grab a hold and hold fast to anything they're on. So walls, tree, what this one's going on. Very, very fast growing. They tend to take a few years to flower. When they do, they get white, flat clusters of flowers that are fragrant, which is a bonus in the hydrangea world. Has beautiful exfoliating bark in the winter time when it doesn't have leaves. Just a really nice plant, and not super common. So if you do find one of these and you got something for it to climb on, that's a great choice, and very different than the other hydrangeas. It's amazing how a family of plants like this could have so many different variations, from sun to shade and blooming on old and new wood and all those kinds of things. And that's something I need to back up on. The first two we saw, the Hydrangea paniculata and the Annabelle hydrangea, bloom on new wood. Okay, oak leaf hydrangea, the last one we looked at, blooms on old wood, meaning that the flower buds are on them sometime in the late summer from the previous year. And if they get damaged during that winter or improperly pruned, you will lose the flowers. And so that's an issue on hydrangeas. The last one I talk about, there is a change in another variety that allows us to still have flowers. I'll talk about that in a minute. Again, same thing on this climbing hydrangea. This is going to bloom on old wood. And so we have to be super careful pruning these. Oak leaf hydrangeas, climbing hydrangeas, and the next two you're going to see, we get a brief opportunity after they flower to neaten them up a little bit. So the next group is Hydrangea serrata, or mountain hydrangeas. I got to be honest with you, I don't know a whole lot of differences between Hydrangea serrata and Hydrangea macrophylla. This one right here is called Big Daddy. I'm going to talk about Hydrangea serrata, but there's not a whole lot of difference between them. Typically, these will have slightly smaller leaves than Hydrangea macrophylla, and also the flowers will be scaled down a little bit, but I really don't understand why they're in a separate group, because if you were just walking past one, I think it would be hard to identify. My favorite variety of Hydrangea serrata is Bluebird. It is a very long bloomed hydrangea. These are definitely part shade plants. They're hardy in zone 5 to 9. So here we are back around to Hydrangea macrophylla all summer beauty. This is a Remontant variety. I mispronounced that word on another video. I realized when I was going back and watching my own video one day, but it's Remontant. This means that it blooms on old and new wood, and this is a big change in these Hydrangea macrophyllas. We traditionally had a variety called Nikko Blue and lots of other varieties. I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of varieties of Hydrangea macrophylla, but the exciting thing in these is that we have new ones coming out, it seems like every year, that bloom on both the old wood and the new wood. Still doesn't mean you want to prune it in the wintertime, because the best flowers I've noticed on these Remontant varieties, the early flowers tend to be bigger. The ones that were set on last year's wood, the ones that come out during the season, which this one is doing right now. It's the middle of July. This thing has new growth from this year with flowers on it. But the flowers are definitely smaller. They'll be bigger in the future as it establishes itself, but I've seen in all scenarios, it seems like the old flowers from the old growth are definitely bigger. And so there it is, Hydrangea macrophylla. This is zone 5 to 9, same as Hydrangea serrata. You can see that they're all pretty cold hardy. They all offer flowers but we have them where, you know, if you want a native hydrangea, we've got two of those, oak leaf hydrangea and Hydrangea arborescens. If you want a full sun hydrangea, you can try Hydrangea arborescens, definitely Hydrangea paniculata or panicle hydrangea. Those are the ones for you. If you've got a part shade condition, the other varieties like Hydrangea macrophylla or Hydrangea serrata, that mountain hydrangea, and the climbing hydrangea as well would all work for that, and the oak leaf hydrangea. So there's definitely you definitely have a spot in your yard that one of these will grow. And I think if we go back to Hydrangea paniculata, I think that PG would grow in zone 3, and then these macrophyllas grow all the way down to zone 9. So anybody between 3 and 9, there's a hydrangea. You can grow a hydrangea of some type, and then you have to determine whether you have sun or shade, and you know, how low a maintenance do you actually want it? Because if you want it super low maintenance, Hydrangea arborescens or Hydrangea paniculata is definitely for you, where you just wouldn't have to think about them. You just plant them once a year, pruning and fertilizing, and you're kind of done with it. So thank you very much for watching this video. I thought it was kind of exciting that I had, you know, what I would consider the 6 main groups. There are other groups of hydrangeas. You go to a garden center or go to a box store, like I said, these are probably the 6 groups you're going to run into, and then you're going to have varieties of each of these. Like I said, this is Hydrangea macrophylla, all summer beauty. I have Hydrangea macrophylla big daddy in the backyard. That's what you're going to see. But those first 2 words are the 2 that you're looking for, that kind of identify whether it needs sun or shade, when it can be pruned, and all of those things. So thank you very much for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for future videos.